Hi, I'm Amy Matthews. On my DIY network show, Sweat Equity, I've worked on a lot of homes to make them more useful and attractive. But no matter how useful and attractive your home is, your number one home priority must be home safety. Protecting your loved ones and your valued possessions is the most important job that any of us can do, and we're about to show you how. We'll start right here in Minnesota at the Spring Lake Park Blaine Mounds View Fire Department, where an innovative new program called the Home Safety Challenge is making a real difference in injury prevention. We're about to meet up with the chief, Niall Zickman. Hey Chief, can I come in?
You bet. I've been expecting you.
Good to see you.
You're welcome.
So let's get right down to it. You've seen firsthand the damage that home fires can do. And even a small fire can have a huge impact on buildings and people.
Amy, that's right. Every fire has the potential to become serious, and every year thousands of Americans are injured or die because of them.
I think the place we live is the place that we usually feel the safest. Yet what you're saying and what statistics show is our homes are actually the place that we're at the greatest risk for injury. That is not a very comforting thought.
There's no getting around the facts, Amy. The dangers are real and the costs in terms of death, injury, and damage are high. But too often, information about these dangers isn't accompanied by the practical steps we can take to start living our lives in safer ways.
That makes sense.
Our homes can and should be places where we feel safe. The way to make them safe is to practice safe behaviors. We want to do everything we can to empower people to do just that. That's what programs like the Home Safety Challenge are all about.
It looks like you're making a big difference here. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome, Amy.
Now it's time to head to a local home. We're going to meet up with Becky Booker, one of the Chief's fire and safety educators, to get some specifics. Becky is also a licensed RN. She's with a family right now, taking them through a comprehensive, confidential, and free home safety survey.
So why don't you go ahead and protect this last one right here?
Hey guys, how's the survey going?
Hi, Amy.
Good. You guys learning a lot?
Yeah.
You having a good time? Yes.
We're just finishing up right here.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you these and we're going to put them in the rest of the house.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good job. Bye. Bye. Have fun. Well, it looks like these guys are having a good time with everything. Can you take a few minutes from your survey to kind of show us some of the basics you're talking about?
Sure. First, it's important to understand that what Fire and Life Safety Department is really about is changing behaviors. We want to show you how to live your life more safely in your own home.
The chief mentioned that as well. So what are some of the most dangerous behaviors?
Without a doubt, the number one cause of fire deaths in the U.S. and actually in the world is smoking. If we could eliminate incidents caused by smoking material that isn't disposed of properly, we would dramatically lower fire-related injury and death. Dramatically.
What about other open flames? I mean, we have our furnaces and our fireplaces, gas ranges and grills, even candles. What about those kind of things?
Matches and lighters need to be locked away from kids. All appliances need to be well maintained and used safely.
That's a great start. Why don't you finish your survey and I'll go over some of the basic safety tips.
Great. I'll catch up with the family.
See you in a bit. Let's start with smoke alarms. Working smoke alarms save lives. Install smoke alarms on every level of your home, outside each bedroom and in each bedroom. Test them monthly. And replace the batteries every 6 months. The kitchen is where most home fires originate, so let's get right to the cause. Unattended cooking on the stove. Always stay in your kitchen while you're cooking and observe the 3-foot rule. That means that anything that can catch on fire should be kept 3 feet away from your cooktop. Now, this kitchen looks pretty good, doesn't it? There aren't any cookbooks over here. They're kept safely on the other part of the counter. There's no bread in bags that can melt and catch fire. There aren't any magnets with paper on them. It really looks pretty good. But even so, there are still a few items that could burn easily. These decorative items, all wood, they can catch on fire. Put them somewhere else. This little thing looks pretty great and holds some useful tools, but it should be kept on a counter away from the stove. Even your toaster, when not in use, should be stored inside a cupboard or on another part of the countertop. And don't forget, this thing right here is a handle for your oven. It is not a towel rack. Now, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but if you've ever had a fire in a pan, you know that you don't want to pour water on it, right? Grease and water don't mix. Boom! You will turn a small, manageable fire into one that could rapidly spread around the room. So here's what you do. Carefully slide a lid over the pan. and turn the burner off. If that doesn't work, now is the time to call the fire department and use your fire extinguisher. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to pay attention in the kitchen. Why? Because the #1 cause of fires in homes around the world is unattended cooking. Whether you have an electric or gas range, the high temperatures generated by those heat sources can start fires if you're careless. And that goes for the microwave as well. Never put metal in the microwave. Children especially need to be taught to be careful around flames and heat so they don't get hurt. Turn the pot and pan handles to the side. And it wouldn't hurt to use the 3-foot rule and keep children away when the burners or oven are in use. All right, let's talk about fireplaces and wood stoves. You should have them and your chimney inspected annually, more if you use them frequently, for instance, if they're a primary heat source. Burn only dry wood, no trash or paper, and dispose of the ashes in a metal airtight container until cooled. Make sure your fireplace screen is in place to prevent sparks from jumping out. Who doesn't love a nice romantic candlelit dinner? It's a great way to make a meal special, but you have to be safe. It's recommended to use flameless battery-operated candles. They give the same ambiance as a regular candle, except there's no risk of fire. If you do use regular candles, make sure you never leave them unattended or use them where pets or children could accidentally knock them over. And make sure that you extinguish them completely before you leave the room or go to bed. Having a fire escape plan and practicing it is essential. Always have 2 ways out. Know how to properly use the windows installed in your home. Now, your family should decide on a designated meeting place outside the house where you're safe and you can be seen by emergency personnel. Basement rooms can get a little cool, so we use space heaters to warm them up. There's a couple rules that you should follow. Yep, you're ahead of me here. It's the 3-foot rule, and that means keeping your space heater even 3 feet away from the wall. Now, you want to make sure that you turn it off before you go to bed or even leave the room, and it should have an automatic safety switch. That way, if it gets too hot or tipped over, it'll turn off. Now on to the furnace. Your furnace should be inspected by a professional as per your manufacturer's instructions. And like any appliance, you should actually read the manual and keep it nearby for easy reference. Now, don't forget to replace your furnace filter. So you should replace your filter every month unless the manufacturer requires differently, or if there's construction in the house, on the block, or heavy pollen in the spring. Look at this stuff. Your furnace has to work so hard to push air through here. You actually spend more money on your energy bills. Your indoor air quality definitely suffers, and you increase your risk for fire. So change your furnace filter before it becomes an issue. That way, it'll be more efficient, which will save you money. And for the water heater, remember it's an open flame, so don't set or store anything near it, like paints or varnishes that are flammable. And set it under 120 degrees, so no one gets scalded. Since some water heaters give you only general temperature ranges, it's a good idea to test the water by holding a simple thermometer under your kitchen or bathroom tap.
There you go. Rub your hands together and then wash them off.
Remember, little hands have greater sensitivity to heat. Now here's a problem area that many of us overlook. Never leave the dryer on when you leave the house or when you go to sleep. And mind that 3-foot rule. Move everything away from the heat source. After you finish every load in the dryer, it's a good rule of thumb to clean out your lint vent. Pull off that lint. It'll actually help your clothes dry faster, save you money on energy, and it's safer. And don't forget to clean out your exterior dryer vent. It's a place where lint really collects, and most people don't even think about it. Next, I'd like to talk about 2 deadly gases, carbon monoxide and radon. While we're still in the basement, let's talk radon. Radon is a very heavy gas that settles in low-lying areas of buildings, like basements. Radon equals radiation. Radon comes up through the soil. It enters the lowest level of your home and gets circulated throughout the home. Radon is thought to be a leading cause of lung cancer, so don't take chances. You can get a radon test kit at your local hardware store. It's inexpensive and it's the only way to know if you have radon in your home. Read the directions, fill out the form, and then hang it somewhere in your home in your lowest level, away from the furnace, that gets good circulation. After 3 days, you send it back in and you'll know. Secondly, carbon monoxide. I think most of us know enough not to leave our car in a closed garage running, especially while we're in it. But if you have a defective furnace or water heater in your house, you won't smell it or see it, but it could kill you or your loved ones. That's why it's called the silent killer. You go to sleep and just don't wake up. You hear about it happening in places like cabins with old appliances, but it can easily happen in your brand new home as well. Get carbon monoxide alarms, put them in the hallways outside of any bedrooms, and keep them maintained. All right, let's find Becky and get some more tips on fire prevention and safety. Becky, how's the survey coming?
Oh, it's going great. They're doing a pretty good job inside, but it's important to check the outside too. Like this wood pile up against the house, not a great idea. Somebody throw a cigarette down there, the whole house can catch on fire.
That would be bad. All right, so that's got to move. Anything else you found outside?
And over here, up here on the deck, the barbecue's in a great place if you're just storing it, but when you're using it 6 feet away from the house, and even a thought is not even have it on the wood deck.
Because all of this could go up in flames.
That's right.
All right, so no unattended cooking and a general 6-foot rule away from the house outside.
Perfect.
All right. Anything else?
The trees need to be trimmed so they don't touch or overhang the house. And house numbers need to be visible so the emergency vehicles can find you as soon as possible.
What do we look for in the garage?
Well, I see the gas is in a proper container, and that's really good. But I would suggest that you keep these other flammable liquids and that in a metal cabinet with metal doors. That's a proper way to store that because of the vapors.
So you're actually minimizing the vapors that are in the garage space as opposed to just keeping flammable or combustible items away.
Exactly.
Okay.
When you're filling your lawnmower, you want to do it outside and be sure and do it with a cool engine.
Any other garage tips?
Yes, you want to make sure the garage door is working safely.
So that safety reverse is probably the most important thing, so that if children or pets are underneath there, that garage door goes up when it should.
Absolutely right.
Well, it feels like we've got the house covered pretty well.
Did you talk about electrical cords?
Not yet.
First, replace damaged cords. And when you need to use multiple receptacles, use surge protectors. Finally, extension cords are not meant to replace permanent wiring, especially to major appliances. That's just plain asking for trouble.
All right, we've covered some good information about safety risks inside the home, but home safety is also about protecting yourself from outside risks. Deadbolt locks, motion detectors, and proper lighting are all important ways to do that. So what else can we do to discourage criminal activity?
You know, many crimes around the homes are about opportunity, so keep all doors locked all the time. Your garage doors, your exterior doors, and your car doors. Even if your car is parked in the driveway and you're going in for just a second, lock it every time. Install timers on lights. Use locks on windows. Break-resistant glass in doors and side panels, and a bar or dowel on your sliding doors.
Well, thanks, Becky. That's a lot of great information.
I'm going to go finish my home survey.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of information, but of course we haven't touched on every aspect of home safety. There's a lot of great things to go over, like poison prevention and fire extinguishers and CPR and first aid training. If you have any questions or want to know more about any aspect of home safety, please contact your local fire department. Thanks for watching and be safe.